Well, what should I cut off him? Please say his cock, his cock, his cock, his cock. Please, please, please.
Any body part will do.
Yes!
Is this a bad time to say I really like this game? Prior to playing Shadow Warrior 2, someone described this game as Doom Eternal's combat meets Jackie Chan and Deadpool's sense of humor. I had zero idea on how to interpret that. 12 hours and countless of corpses later, I can confidently say that description's actually not that far off. Now right off the bat, I would actually highly recommend this game if you're a major FPS fan and you never played it before, and if you don't mind some heavy, cheesy humor.
You always make me smile, Lo Wang. No, wait, that's not it. You always make me fart. That's what it was.
That hurts, Larry. You know, you're a real demon, you know that? Like when you sit on your hand and it feels like it belongs to someone else.
Yeah, just like that. Only not disgusting.
That depends on what you're paid.
It's always about the money with you, isn't it?
No, sometimes it's about sex. And sometimes it's about sexy money.
Will you shut up? There was a man here. He took photos of Amiona while she was bathing.
Bathing, huh? Scandalous.
You cannot allow these photos to get out. Her reputation
Is already slutty enough?
enough talk.
Okay, fine. But I expect to be paid entirely in sexy money. None of that Ben Franklin stuff. Guy looks like a potato in a wig.
Absolute must play. And I'm talking about both the 2013 reboot and its 2016 sequel. The sequel is obviously much better, but I would say that they're both worth looking into, at least for a little bit. You know, just to kill some time and show some indie devs a little bit of love. To be honest, for both games, guns aren't as powerful as I'd like them to be, with a bigger emphasis on melee combat. But if you don't mind being all up in demons' faces, dashing side to side like the fruit flies around an elephant's ass, then it's perfect. But if you're not that easily sold on this game, then allow me to show you the way of the Wang.
Easy on the dick jokes.
Yes, I hate myself for saying that. I actually initially tried to beat the 2013 reboot of the series, and while it is good for what it is, the humor is there. It's a little bit more linear than the second game. I kind of prefer the story's presentation in this game a little bit more, but compared to the sequel, as it should be, it's a little bit more bare bones. You do have skills and powers and the means to upgrade your weapons. All of these have different currencies. To upgrade your weapons, you gotta collect money throughout the game, use that stuff to upgrade every gun in various ways, from dual wielding to using explosive bolts to a faster fire rate for your revolver. Then you have karma points, and how much you get is based off of your performance in combat. There's also deposits you can find in the environments, but well-aimed gunshots, katana moves, headshots, limbs being removed, all that stuff is accumulated with karma points. And you spend karma points on new skills like healing and damage output and new katana moves. Then you have ki crystals, at least I think that's how you pronounce it, it's Ki. But these crystals are found hidden throughout the levels. You use those to buy new powers that you can use in combat, like shockwaves, and at least in the sequel it's called like a chi blast to knock everything back. It also can attribute stuff like your damage and health properties, stunning and manipulating enemies, and these new abilities are represented through tattoos on Wang's body. So there's obviously a fair amount of stuff here that'll keep you busy for a while, but what made me stop playing essentially was there's a grand total of 18 chapters. By the 8th or 9th chapter, enemies start to become bullet sponges, especially this one demon type that basically can resurrect everything in the arena, and their health pool is fucking massive. So the game just ended up feeling repetitive way too fast. I mean, it's good for what it is. It's obviously still gory and tons of fun, but I lost interest pretty quickly. In short, first-person shooter that blends juvenile humor with cheesy one-liners. The gameplay has guns, but you'll find yourself using swords and your mythical chi powers to kill the demonic hordes more often than not. And the story, I wasn't paying attention. In all fairness, what I got from it was your Lo Wang with a demonic sidekick. Kind of all you need to know. So for narrative purposes, the first installment is technically important, since in the sequel, there's a lot of hoping on the parts of the devs that you'll know who's who from the previous game. Story's not that deep, but they don't really take the time to say, oh, this is this person and that's that person, and you know, they could do a better job at establishing the characters. But if you're just here to fuck shit up and could care less about the story, then it's perfect. Plus, this is the one you're really going to be sinking all your hours into. There's so much more in this game. I have no idea where to start. I guess we can start on the more basic stuff. The movement. I'd say the developers nailed the movement in both games, although it's much better in this one. The stamina bar is completely removed, you have a double jump, and you now have the ability to jump and dash in any direction. In the previous game, you could dash in any direction, but if you try to jump and dash, that wasn't an option. Now, you can continuously dash forward, backwards, side to side, jump and dash forwards, jump and dash sideways. Your movement is completely unhindered. Throw in the fact that enemies are capable of blocking your melee attacks and quick swapping or switching from one weapon, whether it be a katana or a machine gun or a rocket launcher, seamlessly without having you to stop what you're doing or wait an extra second or two for that animation to end is great. I think this level of fluidity and seamlessness is something that we're going to start to see a lot more in arena shooters because it feeds the combat so beautifully. You have no limits on your movement, you have no limits on weapon swapping, you are slowed down because you do have to reload in this game sadly, and then you start to realize you can't reload and run at the same time, which is weird. A little bit of an oddity that stuck out to me. Not that big of a complaint though, because you can just constantly dash or double jump or jump and dash constantly to stay out of reach of your enemies. I just found that really weird though. The other thing I found a little odd, but still worked to this game's benefit, was they kind of turned it into a light RPG. And let me walk you through this because it can get a little overwhelming pretty quickly. So in this game, they pretty much doubled down on everything from the original. Karma points return. This time, it's all XP tied. All your kills, completing missions, all go to your karma. Karma is used to upgrade your skills. Skills vary wildly from chi regeneration, the total amount of chi you have. Chi is attributed to your powers, which I'll talk about in a second. Your total health regeneration, how much ammunition you can carry, how much ammunition you find, your total health regeneration, your basic movement speed, how deadly your katana attacks are. And then you have basic skills that are given to you from the start. Other skills are given through vendors, others are given through side quests or even the main story. So there's a good amount of variety here. You can always respec your skill points at any time too, so you can experiment with what matches your playstyle and what you prefer. Upon killing enemies drop gems, and gems are used to change the characteristics and attributes of your weapons. And these also vary wildly from changing your weapon's fire rate. Some gems would allow you to double your weapon's damage at the cost of firing 2 shots at a time, so you're depleting your weapon's ammunition much faster. Some gems allow you to drop your weapon, and that gun will be used as an autonomous turret to fire at demons on your behalf. The trade-off there is the accuracy is horrible. Other gems completely change your weapon by adding elemental effects from fire, ice, electricity, toxicity. Each weapon can carry 3 gems at a time, and these gems can be changed on the fly. So if a specific gem isn't working out for you during a fight, say you're using the minigun and it's firing incendiary rounds, and you come across a demon that's immune to fire, just switch out those incendiary rounds for ice and you're good to go. Which, as I just mentioned, some demons are immune to elemental effects. Some demons are even immune to your chi powers. That is until you completely upgrade them. Your chi powers in this game vary from, I think there's only 3 main ones if I recall correctly. You have Vanish, which allows you to turn invisible for a short period of time. You have Grip of Fear, which basically calls these spikes out of the ground. This does not hurt the demons at all, but it does leave them suspended and vulnerable for a short period of time. And then you have Chi Blast, which basically knocks all the demons around you. Which, a maxed out Chi Blast with a sword or, well yeah, honestly a sword is the best way to play. With gems that replenish your chi upon killing demons, it's just a constant cycle of death and nothing is even capable of touching you. And that's not even touching the final level of upgrading weapons. As you progress through the game, later on you come across these things called trials. Upon completing these trials, which are basically just these very small arenas where you have to kill all the demons in the area and not basically fall into lava or fall into these pits or it's instant death and game over. Upon completing these trials, you get these little purple orbs. From what I've seen, it's 3 at a time, so it's a little bit of a grind. Good thing it's fun as hell to actually kill things in this game, but with enough of these and access to the forge, you can permanently upgrade a specific weapon stats, from its killing efficiency to, if we're talking about a gun here, its damage, its fire rate, reload speed, and I think clip size. I think the upgrades vary depending on the weapon itself. Speaking of the forge, it's also something that later on, for money, in-game currency, not real currency, you can combine 3 gems of the same rarity. There are rarities in this game for a chance to get a better gem. And to be honest, like I said, it's all incredibly overwhelming. At first, I would describe this entire system as being as vast as an ocean and deep as a puddle. Now, I'm not saying that is a bad thing. You know, it didn't seem punitive to not play with gems. When I equipped it, hell yeah, it helped, but at no point did I feel compelled or forced to equip anything. It just seems like a surplus of systems to really let you experiment and play and however you see fit. And considering there's, I believe, a total of 73 weapons in this game, ranging from a little bit more realistic MJ60, M16 to stuff a little bit more comical or a little more out there, you know, dual katanas that can actually launch plasma blades, or a wad of cash as a melee weapon. And while this game is an open world and is linear still technically, you do have a hub that you can always return to at any time to visit the bounty board or talk to vendors and buy skills or buy weapons or ammunition. And then from there you can pull up your map and go anywhere you want pretty much and free roam or do side quests. And the areas you can go to vary from a forest to the snowy mountains, futuristic city, a modern city, which in my personal opinion looked the best. And I had the most fun there, probably because there's more human enemies there, and for whatever reason fighting human enemies in this game is awesome. I think it's just the way that they get chopped up and the way that they react when a hand gets cut off. Plus you have the ability to just knock them off their feet, so you're just constantly fucking them up. And personally, you know, it's the first time I played this game ever, and I honestly immediately fell in love with it, with the humor, the action, the weapons, the fluidity and movement. I would highly recommend you guys check out Shadow Warrior 2. Again, Shadow Warrior isn't bad, but it's a precursor to greatness. It's important for knowing the history. It's not really that important for just playing. Or it might. That's insulting. Or it might, you know, for $5, hell yeah, I'd recommend that too. Anyways, let me know what you guys think about this down in the comment section. I'm sure I missed something. Feel free to yell at me down below. Let's talk all things arena shooters, but shameless plug, if you guys haven't joined the Discord yet, link is down below. You can yell at me there directly, or, you know, follow me on Twitter or Instagram or however else you feel like stalking me. But until next time, I'll see y'all later.